everybody, and welcome back to Beyond the Whistle. Today is Season 4, Episode 10, and it's our Super Bowl special. I'm Henry Lapin, joined by Rob Frangione, Jason Generalis, and Ryan Bell, and we have a great episode in store, so let's get right to it. Conference championship games wrapped up last weekend, or 2 weekends ago, with Pro Bowl last weekend, which I think the Pro Bowl, it's getting out of style. I think that needs to be over with soon. It's just been on a downhill ever since pretty much they stopped hitting each other, and I mean, I could not watch flag football for another minute after that. It was like a 70-70 game.
I think I complained maybe about 5 times. I turned the game off because it was just so abysmal to watch. I mean, it's just not fun anymore. I mean, I know it hasn't, even when it was still tackle football for the past couple of years, the last few years it was, they were taking it pretty light. There was no defense played whatsoever. But I would much rather watch that than anything flag football related.
Yeah, I watched the game for like 2 minutes, just turned it off. The skill games are fun to watch and all that, but the actual game itself.
I mean,
and the skill games, they've always been there, and they've always been fun. But
Yeah.
I think now that used to be like a thing during the week. Now it's actually part of the games.
Right.
I saw the Bosa brothers speed walking against each other. I don't know what the hell that was.
Yeah.
But the games before that, the conference championship games, great games. We saw the Commanders and the Bills both. I mean, the Bills was a true heartbreaking game. We saw Dalton Kincaid just drop their team's chances in that incredible play by Josh Allen somehow to get that ball in the air. But Rob, what was your main takeaway from the conference games?
Well, I gotta say there were a couple questionable calls in the Chiefs-Bills game. I actually think that the Xavier Worthy catch, as controversial as it was, I think they made the right call. I don't know if it was a catch, but I mean you got to go with the ruling on the field. However, that Bills first down, Allen got that. We can all agree that Josh Allen picked that first down, right? And who knows how much that's going to change the outcome of the game, but that was a horrid call by the officiating crew in Kansas City. I was most surprised by just how much the Eagles steamrolled the Commanders in the game before that. I mean, that was just crazy to watch. It felt like the Commanders had a couple chances to get some points on the board early in the game, but the Eagles just put them away so early, and that's kind of what surprised me.
Yeah, Saquon just had a huge day, 15 rushes, 118 yards, 3 touchdowns, and I think he's going to be a huge factor in the Super Bowl game. The Commanders, I mean, they were playing with house money that whole time. You had your punter throw a pass. I mean, Jaden Daniels, you cannot throw the ball 50 times a game and win. He had 48 pass attempts, completed 29 of them for a touchdown and a pick. They were playing with house money that whole time. They had to be aggressive. They were, and I mean, I still think they're a year or two out from being like a real Super Bowl favorite, but a great season for them, and I know they're going to be competitive going forward.
Yeah, just going for both the games. I agree. I think that Josh Allen was a first down, but at the end of the day, the Bills lost that game. You can't get into a one-score game with Mahomes and expect to win it. He just has the clutch playoff factor. He will always win those games, even if you give him 10 seconds and he's down by a field goal. Just the bottom line is the Bills had to play better at the start of the game, maybe get a 2-score lead, and they just didn't do that. And as much as I hate the Chiefs, they're back in the Super Bowl. They although there were some calls on the way, they deserve to be in the Super Bowl. They won that game. The Eagles and Commanders, Henry, I did not expect the Commanders to really I thought it would be a much closer game. I did not think the Commanders were going to win, but I thought they might have covered the spread. And just the Eagles really put them away. Obviously, you had the rushing from the Eagles. There was 7 rushing touchdowns in one game. Jalen Hurts had 3. Saquon had 3. Backup running back even got in for 1.
Will Shipley.
Yeah, I mean the Eagles really just won the turnover battle, and I think that's what it is. I think it was like 4 turnovers. It was Jaden Daniels had a pick, but there was a couple fumbles here and there. And the muff punt return just really sealed the deal for me.
Yeah, I mean, it was 2 good games. I definitely thought Washington was going to keep it closer, and it really was a close game, in that first half, and all of a sudden Washington scores, and, Philly's a little uptight, and then really that fourth quarter kind of blown that Washington defense away, just the rushing attack, from the Eagles. And then that second game, obviously Chiefs-Bills, I mean, that's what football is, right? Everyone's watching, everyone's tuning in. Great game, I agree. I thought Josh Allen did get that first down, but again, as you mentioned, Jason, it shouldn't come down to one call, and a lot of plays on defense where if you want to go to the Super Bowl and stop the Chiefs, you got to stop Mahomes. And Josh Allen, when he has these key drives, 2 times where you can get first downs and sealed it, he only combined for 17 total yards. So obviously that's a problem. And Kyle Brandt, I think he tweeted when Josh Allen had the ball in that final drive, like, this is what he's made for, right? We got to see what he'll do here, and nothing really came up about it. So Josh Allen is obviously a great quarterback, and he's the future of the league, and he is obviously the star right now in the NFL. But to dethrone the Chiefs, you got to play better than that.
Yeah, I think there's actually got to be some questions about Josh Allen's clutch factor. I mean, we saw it again in the Ravens game. Yeah, he came through, and for most of the Chiefs game, he did. But you got 3 minutes to get a score on the board, maybe a field goal, maybe a touchdown. And I mean, you go basically, was it 3 and out they went on that first possession, or did they get a first down? Either way, I don't even think they got past midfield on that. And I mean, blame Dalton Kincaid all you want, but and the defense. I think the defense was really.
You also had they were up by like a score and they couldn't get another score. They couldn't tack on that, so they had the whole fourth quarter to get a score, and they just really, or like the whole like 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter, they just needed to add on to that score, come back, and.
I was shocked that McDermott elected to go for two twice during that game. There was one, I think it was the one when they went for it at halftime, right before halftime. I don't think that was one I agreed with. And there was one that made a little bit more sense, but I think they were just digging themselves deeper holes by just going for 2 and failing each time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think the Bills, they need to get more help for Josh Allen. I thought Keon Coleman, 30-something-year-old Amari Cooper, I mean, he hasn't been good. I mean, as productive as he was in a couple of years, especially when he got to Buffalo, he just basically just disappeared off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
Dalton Kincaid, I mean, he's had a good season so far, but that was a horrible drop. Yeah. Dawson Knox, I don't know what the hell he's been doing. So I think Bills, they need to definitely rebuild. I mean, not rebuild. They need to reload for next year. Myles Garrett, maybe. Yeah. I mean, he just requested that trade. I think the Bills could be definitely a candidate for that. So now we're going to get into our Super Bowl part of this. Rob, what is your hot take for the Super Bowl?
I'm saying, and you might not agree with this, I think that Jalen Hurts is going to throw for well over 300 yards. I'm thinking closer to 350. He had 304 in the last Super Bowl matchup. And let me just say this. The Chiefs, they're going to be focused on stopping the run the entire time. There's no doubt about that. I mean, you got Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley. Both these dudes are about 600 pounds, but that's besides the point. Hurts, he's known to be a running quarterback as well as throwing the ball, but we haven't seen him throw the ball as much this season. But I think they're going to have to because they're going to be stacking the box with 6, 7, maybe even 8 guys on most of the plays each game. And then Barkley, I mean, the Chiefs are going to be solely focused on stopping that. And, I mean, you've got A.J. Brown, you've got Devontae Smith, and Goddard, as questionable as he's been all season. I think that you've got the targets for Hurts to maybe go for 300, 350 yards.
I don't think there's any chance. I don't think Kansas City defense even allows 200 yards to Jalen Hurts. How many times has he thrown for 300 more yards this year?
I mean, I don't think many, but I think that could change. Biggest stage in sports. Why not?
I think 300 is ambitious. I would go for 250 plus. I think it's going to be
hot takes for a reason.
Yeah,
they're called hot takes for a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
So my hot take is that Saquon is going to rush for over 200 yards on Sunday. I don't know how big of a hot take that is. I mean, I think that you were right when you said Kansas City is going to sell it to the run, but you can't. I mean, we know that the Eagles like to take shots, especially earlier in the game. I think A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. I think they're going to spread out this defense a lot. They're going to have to force the Kansas City defense to respect the passing game, and I think Saquon is going to have a lot of huge rushes again, like he did in last week's game. So I think that he's going to go for over 200 yards. I still think that Jalen Hurts well under 150.
Well under.
Wow.
I don't think he's doing anything.
I think it's a hotter take than me saying over 300. But
I mean, as far as I go, I actually couldn't agree with you less. My hot take is Saquon will get shut down in the Super Bowl.
Really?
I think he's going to go for under 50 yards. I think maybe he'll get 1 touchdown on the board. I don't think he'll get another. I just think that the Chiefs defense is going to be preparing for him. They're going to have Chris Jones on the line. Like Rob said, they're going to have a lot in the box. And I think that this will help develop Goddard, Smith, A.J. Brown, and we saw them in the Commanders game, and if the Commanders didn't have that bad of a run defense, then they would be throwing more and they would be getting those people yards. I mean, Jalen Hurts had 250 in the Commanders game, and I think that's even with a really bad run defense that is limiting his passing potential. I think with the Chiefs defense, they're going to be so focused on the run that he's just going to throw more, get more yards, and just overall have a better game, and this correlates with Saquon just being shut down.
Do you think Jalen Hurts, do you think the run game for him is obviously going to be a big part of the game, which I think most people are thinking, but I think I was kind of contemplating that for my hot take is if the Eagles are going to win this game, Jalen Hurts has to be involved on the ground.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Jalen Hurts is going to be involved on the ground, just kind of using Saquon as, maybe send the defense one way, maybe just run another. I think there's going to be a couple of QB draw plays that the Eagles are going to have because I think the Chiefs defense is going to be so laser focused on Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
Bell, what's your hot take?
Yeah, so my hot take, not necessarily a player prop, but I think looking at the Eagles, if they're going to win this game, I think Dallas Goedert has to be involved, and he has to be involved big time. in these last couple games against Washington in the NFC Championship, he had 7 catches on 8 targets for 85 yards. Pretty much every game, I think the last 5 or 6 games, he's averaging about 12 yards a catch. So that's already a big thing. And, so much focus on Saquon and Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown. You have to get Goddard involved, get your tight ends a little bit more and really spread out that Chiefs linebacking core in the secondary. Because Goddard's a good player, but, we've seen times throughout the season. I mean, he only has 2 touchdowns this year, so he's not necessarily...
I think he was on IR twice.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So, dealing with injuries, of course, and only 42 catches. But, all of a sudden in the Super Bowl, if you're going to step up and you want to make big plays, now's the time to do it. And I think Goddard would be a heavy reason that if Philadelphia is going to win this game, you look at the stats and say, oh, he had 8, 9, maybe even 10 catches.
Yeah, I agree with that. So now we're going to tap into our sports betting segment of the game, Rob. So Isaiah Pacheco, over or under 8.5 carries in the Super Bowl?
I'll take the over. I'll take the over on that. Yeah, I mean, Pacheco, great running back. I mean, I think he's underrated, if I'm being honest. I think he gets overshadowed by, the legendary Patrick Mahomes. Can't believe that just came out of my mouth. But, yeah, I think he gets overshadowed by a lot of dudes in that offense. And, yeah, I mean, Pacheco, they've got a solid offensive line over there. I mean, you can say what you want about Jawan Taylor. But, yeah, I think that Pacheco, he can definitely go for over 10 carries.
Yeah, so my line is Kelsey over under 60.5 receiving yards. I'm hammering the over. I think Kelsey's going to have a big day. I think that I know he's been stepping it up slightly in this postseason. Regular season was obviously not that good for him. He's been, definitely regressing this season, but I think the Super Bowl he's going to step it up. Him and Mahomes just have that special connection in these big moments. I think probably at least 40 of that's going to happen in the red zone. He's a red zone demon. I don't think Zach Bond, whoever is going to be covering him in this Eagles secondary or in this second level of their defense, is going to be able to keep up with him. Travis Kelce over 60.5.
I think you're counting out the brilliance of Zach Bond over there.
I don't think Zach Bond is going to man him up that entire game. I don't think that's Zach Bond's type of play.
Sure.
So, Jason, over under A.J. Brown 70.5 receiving yards.
That's a big prop. I'm going to take the over. I said earlier I think Saquon's going to have a rough game. Rob kind of agreed with me that Jalen Hurts over 300 passing yards. I think A.J. Brown is going to be a huge part of this. I mean, I think last game he had around there. Last game he had 96.
He
had above that. So I think A.J. Brown's going to get that.
All right, so I've heard everyone's opinion on Saquon. Bell, not yours. Saquon over under 110.5 receiving yards. I mean, rushing yards.
If it was receiving yards,
Rushing
man,
yards.
I don't know about that one. 100. What's the line?
110.5.
Ooh, on the
He's
ground.
getting half of that on one carry at one point.
Yeah.
Come on.
I think it's going to be close, but I'll just nudge the over on that. I think barely. I think obviously the Chiefs are going to have some sort of response to stop him, but it's a close line. But, the last couple of weeks, I mean, his ego has to be so boosted and how he's been playing against all these top defenses. He's like, all right, I'll do it one more time in the Super Bowl, against Kansas City. So I think he gets that one. And I was actually just looking at another line right now. This is kind of a risky one with running backs. 8.5 for his longest reception right now. I'll take the over on that. Why not?
Oh, yeah.
I think, there's a play of Kansas City sending some heat. Dump down to Saquon. You get 9-10 yards off of that one. So I like Saquon over on the rushing yards and also for his longest catch to be over 8.5 yards.
Okay.
I like that.
Yeah. So, Rob, who do you think is the difference maker on the Eagles team?
Got to be the O-line. I mean, you've got one of the best offensive lines in football. They've been playing great the entire season, whether it be creating holes for Saquon Barkley, giving Hurts time to pass, even pushing Hurts. And, I mean, we saw how the Chiefs was able to stop that tush-push kind of formation from the Bills. I mean, I know Allen's going left every time, but, the Eagles are going to be going up the middle all this game. So I think that the O-line, they're going to make a difference on those tush-push plays. They're going to make those holes for Barkley the entire time. And one important thing, I know you're going to touch on Spags in a moment, but Steve Spagnuolo, the Chiefs defensive coordinator, he loves to blitz, especially in those late game tense moments. I think that the Eagles offensive line, they're going to have to step up, and I think they're going to shine.
Yeah. So I'm going with one of the two exciting whites in this Eagles secondary, Reed Blankenship, idol to me. So, I mean, I think the best way to beat the Chiefs is keeping Mahomes off the field, and Philly's defense great on all 3 levels of this. But Blankenship, I think he's going to be able to get a takeaway this game. I think he's going to pick off Mahomes. He got 4 interceptions in the regular season, and against the Commanders in the championship game, he recovered a fumble. He forced one in the wild card game against the Packers too. So I think Reed Blankenship, he's going to have a big day. He's going to put respect on all the white secondary players in the NFL. So Reed Blankenship, he's going to have a day on Sunday. Jason.
On the Eagles, I have A.J. Brown as a difference maker. I think that with the focus on Saquon, as we talked about so much this podcast. I think that it's going to give a chance for other receivers to shine. I just think A.J. Brown is going to be that receiver. He's been going to read inner excellence on the sideline, going to get a long ball touchdown. I think that if they want to win this game, they're going to have to go to him more.
Yeah, inner excellence. That was so random. They just painted the sideline.
Yeah.
It was like
reading a book. Yeah.
plus 16. It was like literally up like 70 million% on Amazon.
He was. They showed a picture of the book after. He was like highlighting it. He had post-it notes. It was like any of our reading assignments.
Avid reader.
He was locked in.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder if he's just reading the book multiple times or if he's just reading a couple quotes.
Yeah.
I want to know why inner excellence as well.
Yeah.
That's a huge promotion for whoever that author is.
Do a segment on that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Bell, who is your Philly difference maker?
For Philly, I think it's Jake Elliott. Obviously, the whole problem with the kicking for Philadelphia this year is the missed extra points. I saw he's one of stats-wise at least, and I think playoff, not regular season. He's one of the worst kickers in playoff history on extra points, but on field goals, he's one of the best. Yeah. That's a really, polar opposite between the two. And, we've seen, it feels like every week he's missing an extra point. That's going to be a problem for Philadelphia when you're scoring. And, 1 point, if end of the game, I think we all think it will be a fairly close game in the Super Bowl. Those extra points are going to matter.
Especially against the Chiefs.
Exactly.
All those games, they come down to the wire. And, I mean, just 1 point could be the difference.
So I wonder at some point, maybe Nick Sirianni is going to go for 2 at some points in the game. But Jake Elliott has to make his PATs. I'm not too concerned with the field goals for him because we've seen he's been able. Obviously, he had a bad miss against Washington, but that was a pretty far kick. So for the most part, I'm fine field goal wise for him. But on extra points, Philadelphia has to make all their extra points.
Yeah, I feel like kicking's been down overall this season. We know Justin Tucker's been dealing with
there's been a couple things with kickers. Yeah.
Yeah, I think 10 of them. I think it was 10 of those special things
problems
that he was dealing with.
Yep. Right.
Yeah.
So, Rob, difference maker on Kansas City. Who do you got for us?
I've got Nick Bolton, who played a huge role in the last Super Bowl. He had that long fumble recovery for the touchdown, and I mean, he's going to be huge in the run stop, if you ask me. I think he's going to be probably guarding one of their tight ends, whether it be Calcaterra, Goddard. But yeah, he's definitely have to step up big, try to stop either Hurts or Barkley.
Yeah, I'm going with Steve Spagnuolo, the best defensive coordinator in the league, in my opinion. The blitz packages and the schemes, they can just wreak havoc for all quarterbacks. He knows how to use Karlaftis, Jones, Wharton as well, Felix, Anike, and Duze, whatever his name is, from Northwestern. The schemes that he uses, it makes up for a lack of talent in the secondary besides Trent McDuffie. So I think blitzing the quarterback, I think he's going to continue that.
There's a Justin Reed right there.
Wow. No, yeah. One of the best secondary players, Justin Reed, sure.
One of the secondary players.
Yep. So I think that Steve Spagnuolo is going to make up for some of that lack of talent. He's going to blitz the hell out of Jalen Hurts all game. I think Jalen Hurts knows that's going to come, but I don't think there's anything he can do about it. I think Steve Spagnuolo and defense is just going to pretty much shut down whatever Jalen Hurts tries to do.
I'm going to stick with the trend of difference makers on the Chiefs. I'm going to go with Chris Jones. We got all players that can really break up the run and pass. I think just Chris Jones is going to be a huge factor. I don't think he's going to get as much in with like the sack game. He hasn't had too many sacks this season. I think it's only been like 5. But I just think he's going to be super good on pressures on Saquon and Jalen Hurts, forcing them to get the ball out early, maybe make some turnovers because like as we've seen in some playoff games like this year, the turnovers are so big. They could define the game just one pick. So I think Chris Jones is going to be very good.
I honestly think Karlaftis might have more of an impact than Jones in the pass rush. That's my thing.
I don't know. I think he's been kind of quiet all year. I think he's played in multiple Super Bowls before. He's good in the.
So is Karlaftis.
The tackles for Philly is the strong suit of their offensive line with the guy from down under, Mailata, and then Lane Johnson on the other side. So I think Juergens, maybe we don't know who's starting at center for Philly. Cam Juergens still injured. I believe he is going to play, but
he's trending towards playing.
Yeah. I think Chris Jones, he should have a big day. He's going to get double teamed pretty much every single play. I think you're going to have guard and the center on him. So I think Chris Jones and George Karlaftis are going to have their hands full unless they're sending 5-6 guys at the quarterback each play.
Yeah, well, first off, on Jordan Mailata, I saw clips of him playing like rugby. That he's legit. If football didn't work out,
he's got a great voice as well. I don't know if you saw that Christmas Carol
album
from a year or two ago. That was beautiful.
They're all great singers in Philly. All right, but on to Kansas City. We're all mentioning defensive players. I'll go to the offensive side of the ball. I think Xavier Worthy is a big part of this game for Kansas City. These last couple games, especially in the playoffs. I think 2 weeks ago against Buffalo, I have it right here. It's 6 catches on 7 targets, 85 yards and a touchdown, right? So Xavier Worthy throughout the season, he's been getting a little bit more involved. From the beginning of the year, it didn't seem like he was going to be as big of a piece for Kansas City, but he's really kind of, I'd say, coming to his own these last couple weeks. And now in the Super Bowl, big stage, the biggest stage for him in his life, and obviously to make a big impact against Philly, I think that's going to be something. Maybe some man beaters. He's so fast. Such a speedster, Xavier Worthy. Just send him deep. Honestly, Mahomes could throw it one-on-one, and maybe you'll get a favorable call from the ref. Did you guys see that reporter asked Mahomes who his favorite ref was?
I did see that. And they asked, oh man, what was it? They asked Kelsey,
the
what
phantom
do you love more?
yards. Yeah,
Taylor Swift or phantom 15-yard roughing the passer penalties? That was great.
Yeah, Kansas City, they're getting a lot of banter from all these reporters, so I'm sure the NFL will figure something about that. But
Mahomes handled it well. Kelsey, you could tell that was under his skin a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, but I think Worthy is going to be a huge part for Kansas City, and if the Chiefs are going to win this game, I'd expect him to honestly have a touchdown, maybe a rushing touchdown too. He's been getting a couple on the ground recently.
I don't know. I'm just saying. I think everyone is overrating Worthy. I think he's good, but they're acting like the Bills gave him the next Tyreek Hill.
I don't really see people saying that, to be honest. I think he's more properly.
I've seen a lot of people making fun of the Bills.
I don't know. I think he's more properly rated. I don't think many people are overrating him. I think he's a good wide receiver, obviously, and just being how young he is, there's still so much potential for him to grow. And I think right now, if they win the Super Bowl and he has a big game, then I'm sure people are gonna start going crazy about him. But I think right now he's properly rated receiver, and we'll see how it goes in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this is a player who needs to step up or a person needs to step up. The government of Philadelphia, no matter if Philly wins or loses, that city is going to go wild.
Yeah.
They're going to have to shut down the entire city. I mean, street lights, got to stop those. That cannot, whatever.
They will be greased up.
They will be greased up. You cannot have that another incident like that conference game. But, Rob, what is the prediction? Who's winning? What's the score? And who is the MVP of this big game?
In life, there are 3 things that are guaranteed. Death, taxes, and the Chiefs getting some pretty controversial calls in the playoffs. So give me the Chiefs to win this game. Mahomes, he's going to do his thing, maybe throw for 200 yards, which he gets a little bit too much praise for, if you ask me. But you cannot count out Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and I'll throw in Travis Kelce as well. You cannot count them out in playoffs. They will win this game 31-28. I've learned my lesson from years past in counting out the Chiefs. I think the Eagles are a better team on paper, but the Chiefs are going to win. That's just how it works.
Yeah, so I don't care if Eagles were playing Kennesaw State. I'm rooting for Kennesaw State, and I'm thinking Kennesaw State's going to win. I hate Philly. I hate everyone who's associated with Philly. Chiefs are going to win 27-17. MVP, Patrick Mahomes. Taylor Swift. We should have done this for our betting section. Over under how many times Taylor Swift is shown from kickoff to end. I think 5.5. It's got to be hammered in the over.
Double digits, honestly. Yeah.
I mean, Jackson Mahomes, those TikTok dancers are gonna hit.
Does the post game celebration when the Chiefs inevitably win count? Does that count towards that total?
I hope Jackson Mahomes comes out when Lamar does. Not like us. So maybe Justin Tucker as well. So Jason, who's winning MVP and what's that score gonna look like?
So I have pretty similar to Rob, but I think the Eagles get a last-minute touchdown. I think the Eagles win 35-31.
So they conquer those demons from 2 years ago?
Exactly. Yeah. I think so. I think it would be good for the NFL script if they come back for 100%. More. I have Jalen Hurts as the MVP. I think he'll spread the ball out to Goddard, to A.J. Brown. I just think he'll just overall have a good game, but no one on his team will have a good enough game where they could overshadow the quarterback, the playmaker of the game. So I think he's going to get MVP.
I like that, Jason. First off, I hope the lights don't go out in the Superdome. Obviously, that was a major problem when you had Niners-Ravens there, whatever that was, 2012, 2013.
Yeah, 2013.
There's 3 things, and this is kind of going off what you said as well.
All right.
You never ask a man his salary, a woman her age, and you never give Mahomes the ball when you're down and there's 2 minutes left in the game.
Absolutely.
I think the Eagles might be in a situation where they'll be up maybe 3 or 4 points, but there's going to be under 2 minutes left, and then Mahomes is just going to do his magic. I got the Chiefs winning their 3rd straight, and I saw Pat Riley, the owner, he has not trademarked the word 3P anymore, so the Chiefs can use that.
Saw that.
So it's already in the script right there. Not that I believe that there is a script. But.
I got 2 more things. One thing, I missed my MVP. Give me Mahomes. I think that's kind of a given. Yeah. Oh, man, what was the second thing? I'm forgetting the second thing. It'll come back to me. Let's talk about some more things.
Yeah, but I think the Chiefs win. I'll go 31-28. I think it's going to be a really close game. It's just going to anger so many people that Eagles are going to be so close, and then all of a sudden it's the Chiefs are going to win another 1-score game. MVP, I'll just go Mahomes. I mean, I think at that point they'll just give it to him and it will just infuriate everyone else. And I'd like to see what Twitter is going to be like after the Super Bowl as well, just see everyone angry.
I remember what it is. The Chiefs, I'm still taking them to win, but it's going to be a lot harder for them this year. You know why that is? They're without the man, the myth, the legend, Kadarius Toney, who had a huge punt return for them in the last Super Bowl. And I mean, just the absence of that aura alone is going to make this game so much more challenging. Oh, it's that camera. Going to make it so much more challenging for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Do we know if is Chiefs-aholic out of jail or is he still in jail?
He's out of jail.
He is?
He is out?
Oh, dear God.
He needs to stay away from.
Parole.
He needs to stay away from New Orleans.
Yeah, but that
I don't know. I think the
cannot let him in.
Chiefs might need him to win. Kadarius Toney and Chiefs-aholic missing. What are they going to do?
They have Taylor Swift.
They have
He'll rob another
and
bank.
refs are going to be working overtime in this one, that's for sure.
Big Dom's not going to let Chiefs-aholic anywhere near the stadium.
Yeah.
So that is going to wrap us up for our Super Bowl preview. We got 2 Chiefs, 2 Eagles. We'll see who wins. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.